You know, there are two games that immediately pop in my head when I think of the Sega Saturn console. The first one is Nights into Dreams with its weird 3D control pad, and then it's Daytona USA. While there are technically two other improved versions of Daytona USA for the console, this is the first one that was released with the Sega Saturn surprise launch in May 1995. While the other versions are technically better, I think the first release is the one most people talk about and remember. I mean, how could you forget this game with songs like this?
Looking good.
Daytona USA has nothing to do with the actual Daytona 500. You don't drive around the same circle map 200 times, thank God. Although the game does offer an endurance or marathon mode, which makes you do 80 laps in the first map, if that's what you want to do for some reason. Speaking of maps, there are just 3 tracks to choose from, each labeled with their own difficulty, which I think just shows how good you have to be at turns and knowing each map's layout and doesn't actually represent the difficulty of your opponents. If you were looking for smart racers, you may want to look elsewhere.
White flag is out. This is final lap.
While the first map is the one most people remember, I think the second or medium track is the best one. Once you get a feel for how the game plays with steering and drifting, the second map just outshines the other two. The third, or hard map, there isn't actual names for the tracks, is the longest and has the most turns, which some of them are complete bullshit. I do not consider myself an avid racing game fan, but the tracks on offer are pretty decent, but with all the turns, it really depends on if someone is in front of you or beside you. There are 2 modes to choose from, arcade and Saturn mode. The only difference between the two is that in arcade mode you have a time limit and can only choose between an automatic and manual car, while the Saturn mode has no time limit and allows you to choose multiple cars. Most of the footage you're seeing is in the Saturn mode, because I do not want to deal with stupid ass checkpoints.
Automatic. Gentlemen, start your engine. 3, 2, 1, go!
In all seriousness, graphically, I think Daytona USA is underwhelming even for a 95 release. The amount of pop-in for things in the distance is something you just can't ignore. I know someone watching is probably saying, well, you know, this is early 3D for video game consoles, so you gotta give it a break. Which is true, I guess, but learning about the history of the development and launch of the Sega Saturn, it is no surprise that this feels like an unfinished product. I mean, there's no way to even get back to the main menu while racing. You can only restart the race with a weird button combination. History and early 3D graphics aside, Daytona USA controls pretty well for a game that has no analog steering. While it did take time to get used to and depends on what car you're driving, doing sick drifts is all about placement and when you're starting the drift, much like real racing. But the crashes are pretty damn cool though. Seeing early 3D polygons just flail around it just never gets old, man.
You're looking good.
As you've probably been jamming out already, the music is honestly what makes this game so memorable. From when you put the disc in to when you finish a race, there's a song for each event in the game. It really is something special.
Welcome to Victory Lane. You made it.
Even when you lose a race, you're just jamming out. I don't know how many games make it so that even when you lose, you're still bopping your head wanting to play more.
Congratulations. You place 7.
As a launch title for a console that cost $400 when it was new, I can honestly say Daytona USA is underwhelming in that regard, especially since the launch of the first PlayStation was right around the corner in 1995. But today, this game is one I'll recommend for new Sega Saturn owners. I mean, it was the first game I got when I bought my Saturn off eBay a few weeks ago. While the other versions of Daytona USA are technically better, the first release just echoes what was happening to Sega and the video game industry as a whole in the mid-90s. Sega first developed the Saturn for 2D graphics when the world wanted nothing but 3D. Sega panicked by shoving 3D hardware into the Saturn, making it hard to develop for, and on top of that, they did a surprise launch of the console with an announcement at E3 that year, in the hopes of getting a market edge against the upcoming powerhouse that was Sony's PlayStation. The history behind the launch of the Saturn really is fascinating to read and learn about. I honestly highly recommend looking into it. But as for this game, if you're in the market for a Sega Saturn and want an affordable game to go with it, you can't go wrong with Daytona USA. Just be sure you have a good stereo so the neighbors know what game you're playing.